Okay. So whenever there are vectors with more than three components, like how I have considered in this example three, students will feel difficult. They'll think that it is something different and they get scared looking at the problem. But it is similar, guys. It is similar. Or in other words, when the vector has three components, something like x, y, and z, when the vector has three components, that means what? It is in three-dimensional space. I'll just write it's in R3, or in other words, this can be written as R cross R cross R. Okay? Understood, right? Because it's in real line, you will take it like this. If it is in, if the vector has four components, nothing to worry about. You are in four-dimensional space, that's it. Only thing is we don't use it frequently in our day-to-day problems because it is difficult to visualize. Max you can visualize, only maximum you can visualize a three-dimensional space. Once it comes to fourth dimension, usually we don't have problems in classroom, or we cannot visualize in a very simple manner, because of which we think it is something which we don't know. But in math or this vector spaces, we can handle any n dimensional space very easily. Mathematically you can handle, of course. You may not be able to visualize, but mathematically you can handle and do certain things even for an n-dimensional space. Okay, that's what I just want to say. And then again, I would like to discuss about linear dependence and independence. What if there are four components in the vector? The same thing, I will start with considering the linear combination. L dot C, the linear combination of the vectors when equated to 0 is what I will be considering. K1 x1 plus K2 x2 plus K3 x3. How many other vectors are there? That many scalars only I will consider. The components doesn't decide the number of scalars. Okay. The components in the vector doesn't decide the number of scalars. The number of vectors decide the number of scalars here. Okay. K2 x2 plus K3 x3 is equal to 0. Okay. Okay. I will write the vectors as well. K1 x1 is given to me as 1, 3, 4, 2. X2 is given to me as 3 minus 5, 2 and 2. X3 is given to me. X2 is given to me as 3 minus 5, 2 and 2. X3 is given to me as 2 minus 1, 3 comma 2. This is equal to, actually this is 0. 0, since there are 4 components on the LHS vectors, I'll be writing it as 4 component null vector. Okay. Yes. Now I'll take all the scalars inside. That will look like this. K1, 3K1, 4K1 and 2K1 is the first vector. 3K2 minus 5K2, 2K2, 2K2 is the second vector. 2K3 minus K3, 3K3, 2K3 is the third one. 0, 0, 0. Okay. Yeah. Now I'll add the respective components as I have made a mention of it in the previous video as well. First component with the first component of all the vectors, second component with the second, third component with the third, fourth component with the fourth. So it looks something like this. K1 plus 3K2 plus 2K3, comma 3K1 minus 5K2 minus K3, comma 4K1 plus 2K2 plus 3K3, comma 2K1 plus 2K2 plus 2K3. This is what I have on the right hand side. This is equal to 0, 0, 0. I'll separate the components on the LHS and RHS by equating them with one another. Okay. So this will go to this, and this one to this one to this. Anyways, on the RHS, all are zeros. Any zero can be mapped with the other. matched with the other. K1 plus 3K2 plus 2K3 is equal to 0. 3K1 minus 5K2 minus K3. This is K3 is equal to 0. 4K1 plus 2K2 plus 3K3 is equal to 0. 2K1 plus 2K2 plus 2K3 is equal to 0. 4 equations and 4 unknowns. Again, the best way to solve them is to reduce them to echelon form. Since it is a homogeneous system, for a homogeneous system, I just need to find the rank of the coefficient matrix. Rank of coefficient matrix. Okay. What would be my coefficient matrix? I'll just write all the coefficients of the first equation in the first row. K1 coefficient is 1, K2 coefficient is 3, K3 coefficient is 2. Okay. In the second equation, any equation can be written anywhere. Okay. In the second equation, I have 3 as the K1 coefficient, minus 5 as K2 coefficient, minus 1 as the K3 coefficient. In the third equation, I have 4 as K1 coefficient, 2 as K2 coefficient, 3 as K3 coefficient. In the fourth equation, I have 2 as K1, 2 as K2 coefficient, 2 as K3 coefficient. I'll reduce this matrix to echelon form. How do I do it? Using the pivot. Below the pivot, I will reduce all of them to 0. Okay. By using elementary row transformations. Row echelon form is what I will be following. Why? Because if I go with column echelon form, all the coefficients get mismatched. That means what? K2 coefficients go to K1, K1 coefficients go to K2, and it will be a huge mess. So I'll stick on strictly to elementary row operations. Elementary row operations. Column operations are not allowed for system of equations. If it's a matrix, then you can go with both row and column. Okay. That's why I'll be doing only row echelon form. Row echelon form. There's also column echelon form, but for system of equations, it's invalid. Okay. Yeah. What are the operations that I'll be doing is R2 minus 3R1. Because I want in the place of 3, 0, right? R3 is R3 minus 4R1. R4 is R4 minus 2R1. Okay. Of course, I suggest students to write the multiplication part clearly in rough work to avoid errors. Though you might be very good at calculations or multiplications, it's better when you are doing operations, especially in the exam. Write them, jot them down in the rough, and then do calculations properly so that there are no errors, and then copy them back in the matrix. Okay, that's my strict suggestion to the students. Okay, yeah, 3R1 would be what? 3, 3 3 is 9, 3 2 is 6. Usually our eye tends to shift from one place to another, so we can never say where the error is, and then finally we'll mess up with the rank, and then we'll mess up as well with the conclusions. Okay, yeah. So minus 9 and minus 5 would be minus 14, minus 6 plus 1 would be minus 5, right? That's my second row after reducing it to echelon form or after simplification, right? 0, minus 14 and minus 5 is what I have. Yeah, coming to the R3 operation on R3. R3 is what? 4, 2, 3. 4R1 is what? 4, 4, 3 is 12. 4, 2 is 8. Okay, so 4 minus 4 would be 0. 2 minus 12 would be minus 10. 3 minus 5, 3 minus 8 would be minus 5. Is this correct? 9 minus 5 minus 9. 14 only. What is it? 3 minus 5, 1. 3 ones, 3. 3 threes, 9. And 3 twos is 6. Okay. The final operation on R4, what that is 2, 2, 2 is what I have as R4. 2R1 would be what? 2, 2, 3 is 6, 2, 2 is 4. So I'll be subtracting. 2 minus 2 is 0, 2 minus 4, 2 minus 6 is minus 4, 2 minus 4 is minus 2. Okay. For anyways, next what I should do is, this is the pivot in the second row, or the diagonal element would be the pivot in each row. For the first row, the pivot is a A11 element. For the second row, A22 element, right? Below this, I should have 0. So accordingly, I'll perform operations, right? Yeah. So best thing is that to get a 0 here, 10 I'll multiply with 14, 14 I'll multiply with 10. Okay, I'll be getting 140 and then I'll be subtracting. What is that? Or I can divide each row, do certain things, but that's fine. I suggest to directly go with R3. I should get a 0 in R3, right? R3 would be what? 14 R3. There's a negative sign. Okay, so I'll subtract. Both of them have a negative sign. 14 R3 minus 10 R2. Okay, and then R4. Check for R4. I need a 0 at minus 4. So minus 4 I will multiply with 14. Minus 4 I will multiply with 14. 14 R4 minus 14 I will multiply with 4. Okay, using R2 I am doing because R2 has a pivot, right, for echelon form. Yeah. So I'll be getting something like 132 0 minus 14 minus 5. Just see here, guys. 0, I'll be getting a 0 here. Again, 0 was already there. I'll be getting a 0 here. Now you see, of course, you can go with this bionic calculations, but just see here, let this be x and let this be y. Once I write them back in terms of equation format, please here, k1 plus 3k2, just to save time. Yeah, k1 plus 3k2 plus 2k3 is equal to 0. Minus 14k2 minus 5k3 is equal to 0. Over. Now you see here, there's some non-zero value obviously here. Okay. Yeah, why? Because 5 I've multiplied with 14 and the other 5 multiplied with 10. So obviously this is a non-zero value. Okay, associated with some non-zero value associated with K3 here, some other non-zero value associated with K3 here. So finally, what does this conclude? This concludes that K3 is equal to 0, right? Both the equations conclude that K3 is equal to 0. So substitute K3 is equal to 0 and proceed further. Okay, that's what I will suggest. Of course, you can do this by calculations. Do carry a calculator to the exam so that your simplifications, for the simplifications, you will save some time. But using common sense, clearly I can see that K3 would be 0. So I can cancel out K3 here and K3 here because both are 0. Now, with which I will be getting some value for K2 as well. Okay. I'll be getting some value for K2 as well. What's the value for K2? K2 is 0 again. Now, once I put the value for K2 to be 0, K1 also reduces to 0. Okay. So, finally, what I'll be getting is K1 is equal to K2 is equal to K3. So, I can clearly say K3 is equal to 0. I can clearly say that these vectors are linearly dependent. Until unless, see if I have made some errors, if I have made some mistakes in calculation, then probably I am with the wrong answer. But otherwise, all ki's I have got them to be 0. All ki's are 0, but then since all ki's are 0, using the definition of linear dependence or independence, the vectors are linearly independent because you cannot find any relation. See here, what exactly it means is, as I've said in the previous video, I will explain. What exactly it means is, I can get RHS to be 0 only for 0 into x1 plus 0 into x2 plus 0 into x3 is equal to 0. No other relationship is possible. Unlike in the previous example, it was x1 is written as x2 plus x3. Yes. x1 could be expressed in terms of x2 and x3. Means what? x1 is dependent on x2 and x3. Right? Here, even if I want to write x1 or x2, I'll just write like this. 0 into x1 is equal to 0 into x2 plus 0 into x3. I'll be writing like this. That's the only possibility. That's why they are said to be linearly independent. I think I'm clear. Here they are dependent. Why? Because one vector is expressed in terms of the other two vectors, or vice versa. You can ask me, what if x2 is here? How will I write x2 value from this? x2 value would be what? x1 minus x3 would be x2. Yes? Any one vector can be expressed in terms of the other two. or likewise. Okay, I think I'm clear. If there are any calculation mistakes in this, I will just check. Okay, because the answer goes like these are linearly dependent. Okay, but then because of shortage of time, just to save time, I'm stopping this here.